Hello, my name is Anton Gerth, and we will be looking at poetry today, and this is designated for 6th grade English classes. When we look at the Common Core standards, we're thinking about the author and how the words are used through the author to engage in mental imagery, such as mood and setting tone. This will help us to understand different types of, so that we can analyze literary components. We're going to be looking at the meaning of words and how they are used for our figurative and connotative meanings as we analyze this for the specific word choice, as well as analyzing particular sentences, chapters, scenes to see exactly how it fits overall. What we are going to do for some of these words that are too large for us is we're going to be using context clues. Context clues are hints that an author gives to help us define a difficult or unusual word. Why we do this is because vocabulary is gained through reading, and it's important that we're able to recognize and take advantage of context clues. Different types of context clues that we'll be reviewing, just examples and definitions, synonyms and antonyms, as well as what are called inferences. So when we think about examples and definitions, that's basically just a definition of a word embedded in the text. So for example, the factory supervisor demanded an inspection, which is a careful and critical examination of all the meats processed each day. There we have the definition of inspection within that sentence. The next one, the arbitrator, which is the neutral person chosen to settle a dispute, arrived at her decision. So we have the neutral person, that definition within there. Gary Paulson writes books that appeal or are of a particular interest to young adult readers. Here, once again, in italicization, we have exactly what the word appeal means. So we look at context clues for synonyms and antonyms. A synonym or a restatement of what the words are used within a sentence with a similar meaning. So for example, the slender woman was so thin her clothes were too big on her. Or an antonym, which would be a contrast, would signal where the words are opposed to. So the boxes weren't exactly heavy, they were just cumbersome, unlike the easy to carry bags with handles. So here we have cumbersome can be figured out from its antonym easy to carry. Unlike Jamal's room, which was immaculate, Jeffrey's room was very messy. So we have the opposite of immaculate and very messy. And then finally, whereas Melissa is quite lithe, her sister is clumsy and awkward. So here we have the opposites of lithe and clumsy and awkward. When we're using inference, this is when we have a word meaning that is not directly described, but we need to infer it from the context. So Walt's pugnacious behavior made his opponent back down. This allows us to realize that pugnacious, although there isn't an exact definition, means eager or quick to argue, quarrel, or fight. We then have the man gigged the large fish, but he needed his friend to enlarge the hole to drag it out of the frigid water. We know that there's some sort of fishing device that is used in order to catch this large fish, and here we have the meaning of gig being a prolonged spear for catching fish, so we know it's that device. Next, we're going to look at figures of speeches. These are different ways that we get the reader involved as well. We'll touch on a metaphor, a figure of speech that describes a subject by stating that it is on some point of comparison the same as another otherwise unrelated object. So an example like he has a heart of a lion, you're the sun in my sky, you're the light in my life, jumping for joy, rolling in the dough, apple of my eye, is raining cats and dogs. Watch out if it's raining cats and dogs, you don't want to step in a poodle. No, so just think about exactly how we're comparing two different things that are totally unrelated. When we're thinking about a hyperbole, this is when we have an exaggeration. So this is oftentimes to evoke strong feelings or to create a strong impression. However, what's important to realize is it's not to be taken literally. So I had a ton of homework, or I've told you a million times, I'm so hungry I could eat a horse. If I can't buy that new game, I'll die. So thinking about these aspects of speech and how we're not meaning to take them literally. However, they create that impression to let the reader know exactly what it is that you intend. Personification, this is where we have a human form that is attributed to anything that's not human. So anything that's not human can't actually do these sort of activities, like the wind howled its mighty objection, or the stars danced playfully in the moonlit sky, the thunder grumbled like an old man, or she did not realize that opportunity was knocking at the door, or even the first rays of morning tiptoed through the meadow. So these these aspects of the wind blowing in a mighty objection, or knocking at the door, or tiptoeing through the first rays, these don't actually have the ability to do this because they're all characteristics of humans. When we're thinking about mood, mood is expressed through the descriptive words. Oftentimes, this can be cheerful, so lighthearted mood, showing the descriptions of laughter, upbeat music, delicious smells, or maybe humor. It could be something silly or ridiculous. Maybe they're saying odd or funny things. Even madness, chaotic moods, random things happening, main characters just being out of control. Or romantic, setting up that mood that the setting needs to be lovely, a picnic on the beach, or sailing into the sunset. Examples of this might even be idyllic. So, if we're thinking about calm, peaceful feelings, such as in Charles Dickens' Pickwick Papers, the river reflecting the clear blue of the sky, glistened and sparkled as it as it flowed noiselessly on. Or even mysterious. Edgar Allan Poe is known for his known for his mysteriousness, such as the Raven. Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered weak and weary, and the silken, sad, uncertain rustling of each purple curtain gives you this hidden, puzzling meaning behind it. So, as we looked at overall, we touched on how context clues are able to define a word within a sentence. This is done through those examples and definitions, as well as synonyms and acronyms and inferences. We looked at figures of speech, how we can use metaphor, hyperboles, and personifications just to help the reader be brought into the material. And finally, how tone and mood assist in engaging the reader with the emotions of each piece.